Yep.
Yeah, very, very good group, though.
Yeah, the important people are here.
Right, all the smart people.
Yes, they are.
So let's see. What's this? August 16th, pilgrimages. St. Luke's Episcopal Church, Anchorage, Kentucky. And let's see. Get this thing to move here. All right, so let's see. We spent 2 days talking about Canterbury, and we've spent 2 days talking about the Holy Land. And we're just about done with the Holy Land. These are pictures from St. Luke's trip. How many of you went on the trip that St. Luke's took to the Holy Land? Just but
Jennifer and I did.
Yeah. When was that?
Gosh, why do you ask hard questions like that? I want to say, what is this? I say it's about 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay. So I met Bud and Jen in the parking lot at St. Luke's, kind of like doing a drug deal, except for they were giving me pictures.
Yeah.
And White Castle, I think, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a passport.
You mean you didn't get a donut from Bud?
No, they tried to give me White Castle, but you know.
Oh.
Did a good session yesterday.
So I went through the book to look for pictures that I thought would be, some of them were different to take out of the book. But anyway, I took a few of them to add in here. So this is a chance for you guys to talk about this stuff. That looks like the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Judy's the one that can answer those questions. I just sat there and said, yes, dear, as we traveled along.
And this is also a book. Do y'all recognize what that is?
That's where Jesus was born. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Right, I've seen that in pictures too. And that's inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
What was interesting to me about that, we were looking at something else on the other side of that. There were very few people that stopped and looked at that. I couldn't figure that out why. That was sort of a unique place, to say the least.
Well, I'd say, yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing, I think. If this is actually...
Yeah.
That's where he was buried, right?
Where he's born.
No, born.
I thought he was born in Bethlehem.
They changed the name of the city.
Why?
That is the birthplace, so that must not be sepulcher.
Yeah.
Jennifer think no. Where he's buried is in a little. You have to crawl into this little cave to get back to it. That was an open thing. If you look closer, you can see camel dung off there to the right. No.
Wait,
He didn't do that.
if this is in Jerusalem, then wait a minute. No, they went to Bethlehem. That's supposedly where he was born.
Well, did Bud and Jen, did you go
That's
to...
where we started, in Bethlehem. I've forgotten the name of the hotel.
Boy, that's I didn't even stop to think about that. Why? You're right. Huh. Well, that's what they purport in this. Huh. Interesting.
Where's Judy when you need her?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
She gets
that's
married.
Jerusalem.
So that's the beautiful gate, right? The
That's when he's come back, he'll go through. When Jesus returns, he'll go through that.
right. I thought this was an interesting picture. Do you all know what this is, Bud and Jen?
You remember, Jen? That's the Jerusalem cross. I know that, I think. But that's about, I don't remember exactly where that was.
Dave, on the screen, the pictures that you're showing on the screen, most of the screen is taken up by that white blank that says St. Luke's trip.
Okay.
Is that changeable?
Okay, hey guys, I just looked it up. Two holiest sites in Christianity: the site where Jesus was crucified at the place known as Calvary or Golgotha, and Jesus' empty tomb where he was buried and resurrected. The tomb is enclosed in a 19th century shrine called Adicula. And this is talking about the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem.
Well,
What's it say about Bethlehem?
I didn't look that up.
well, Rob, this is where they believe he was buried.
Okay,
This is inside the Church of the Holy Spirit, under the dome, a separate building inside of it, and inside that building, that's inside the building, is where they believe he's buried.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, we were there.
okay. I looked up Bethlehem and it says the obvious reason to travel to Bethlehem is to visit the Church of the Nativity in Manger Square.
Yeah.
But if you in these pictures, you might find those books in that trip.
Well, you're right. Go to Bethlehem. I don't know why they say that about that one spot.
Let's see.
Bethlehem, birthplace of Jesus under coronavirus quarantine. Oh,
Yeah, look at some of them.
So this apparently is a Roman aqueduct that you all saw while you were there.
yeah, those aqueducts were amazing engineering. They went for miles, hundreds of miles to bring water to Rome.
Yeah.
And obviously to Jerusalem, but you know, you had to build it up so a gentle slope from the source to bring the water.
Isn't that amazing?
Truly amazing.
The engineering involved in that.
The accuracy
They
of
still
the
work.
lines.
And these things that they built 2,000 years ago are still standing, you know?
And
Oh,
working.
yeah.
And yeah, it's amazing.
They work.
That's when government work really meant something.
No wonder they took over most of Europe, huh?
Yeah.
Who's that at the wall? That's the wall.
That's the Wailing Wall.
Yeah. I assume that's one of our parishioners, but I don't recognize him.
That is I.
Is that? I thought it might be.
Yeah, that's his eye with a beard and 100 pounds more.
Oh,
Right now.
I thought that looked like you, but yeah, you like you said, you have a beard and you weigh more, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, tell them,
That was nice.
tell them about, that's where people put the notes in it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell
You
me
see the paper stuck in the wall, you put your prayers in there, and then they'll be answered for sure. I'm still waiting for my lottery ticket to hit. But
Between the stones.
Maybe your paper's
where
still
there's
there.
a crevice between the stones. People would put messages and prayers.
Wow.
back before we left, a lot of people at work, I had them, if they wanted to write a prayer that I stuck in the wall for them.
This is
Dave, have you been to Gethsemane yet?
Have you been to Gethsemane?
I've been-
Which one, in Bardstown?
I've been to Yosemite and Bardstown, yeah.
Okay, did you go to the not the convent,
The monkery.
what's it called?
Yeah.
Did you see any of the priests that, okay, I was telling you about that painting.
Yeah.
And that painting doesn't show the whole painting, and I couldn't find a picture in my records of the whole painting I did, but to the right of that tree on the painting, there was a rock, a big rock. and I superimposed kind of like a ghost impression of Jesus praying there.
Oh, yeah.
So if you do get there and are able to see the painting, it's more than that. So I was gonna
Oh,
say.
cool.
That's
Cool.
the 2,000-year-old tree.
That's an olive tree growing. They're all over the place, and they're enormous. I mean, they're 6 feet, in diameter. So they were probably alive when Jesus was around.
Right. Actually true. By the way, you guys, this is a painting Jen made. Jen painted this.
Oh, wow. That's
And-
great.
And she donated it to Gethsemane in Kentucky. That's why she brought up Gethsemane.
Oh,
And
well,
it's
now I have a reason to make a pilgrimage to Gethsemane.
right. And the painting is of, Gethsemane, the actual Jerusalem forest, Gethsemane garden. So that is a painting of Gethsemane garden that she donated to Gethsemane, Kentucky. That's pretty.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's a pilgrimage we could do.
Yeah.
And another picture of St. Luke's trip to the Wailing Wall. All right.
The Wailing Wall, there's a men's section, which is real big, and then there's a woman's section. You can't pray together.
All right.
Just to
Right.
say that's the men's section. That guy's not peeing against the wall. He's praying.
All right. So like I said, we spent 2 days on Canterbury and 2 days on Jerusalem, probably more than 2 days, 2.5 on each. Then I've got several smaller pilgrimages that are less well known that I thought were interesting. I won't be spending whole days on any of them, but I thought I would talk about some of them just to share with you guys some things that maybe you never heard of, that I never heard of any of these anyway before I started doing the research and looking up and reading about pilgrimages. Have y'all heard of St. Patrick's Purgatory?
Nope. First one.
Yeah. I didn't hear about that until I started studying this. There is so Low Durg. Low is like the Celtic Irish Gaelic for lake. Just like Loch, Scotland Loch. Everybody knows Loch, like Loch Ness. Loch means lake. Well, Low is lake in Irish Gaelic. And of course, linguistically, you can hear the similarity between Low and Loch. So Low Durg is Lake Durg. It's this lake in Ireland. And it's on the lake, there are 2 islands. And both of those islands have a history with the church. And one of them, St. Patrick, has spent a lot of time there. And you can see on this map of where Low Durg is located, with the sanctuary of St. Patrick. And I don't know if you can make it out on the map. I took this Google Maps snapshot. I find it amusing. It says temporarily closed. I assume it's for COVID, but the cave itself, where there was a cave there which he referred to as the doorway to Purgatory. I don't know why. That cave has been closed since 1632 for safety reasons. So I don't know when they temporarily closed since 1632 or because of the COVID, but it's probably because of COVID.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So, there's been, so St. Patrick was born in 386. I think he was a teenager when he was kidnapped, so he became a priest in his early 20s. So since the time of St. Patrick being a priest, so the early 500s, so the early 6th century, there has been pilgrimages to this site. That went on for a couple hundred years, actually, and it's still a pilgrimage site. But in the at one point, this is very well known. There are references to it in early, like Dante's writings and Shakespeare writings make references to the St. Patrick's Purgatory. The earliest printed maps of Europe always included it. So it was in that time frame in the medieval days. It was a prominent, well-known pilgrimage. The pilgrimage itself is very formalized. The site is owned by the Roman Catholic Church. The pilgrimage is a 3-day foot pilgrimage, and you walk the steps of St. Patrick. There's a picture of the island.
Wow.
It's called Station Island. It's because this pilgrimage is called that because the pilgrimage has 9 stations that you walk through, saying prayers, meditations, and that is actually a basilica now. And you see most of the island is taken up by that basilica.
So that was a little island. They just built that building on this island. Is that what it is?
Yeah. You know, St. Patrick used to go there for meditation and prayer and to get away from everything. But of course, holy sites become, as they do through the centuries,
Yeah.
you know, people will build churches on there, and the churches grow into basilicas.
That's been there for 1,000 years then?
Well, you know, it's grown.
12.
They built a monastery or a priory there, Augustinian priory, in 1220.
Okay.
So there's been something there since at least.
Can you imagine how deep down they had to go to make that thing stable and not wash away? It's just
Yeah, right. I know.
I can just think the logistics of bringing the carved stone to the island. There's a lot of trips that had to be made.
I know, right? It's been a lot of work. I find it quite fascinating because, you know, Ireland itself is an island. So here's an island inside a lake inside an island. And that's a basilica. People go to church there. You have to take a boat to get to church, you know?
Yeah.
1220 long journey.
Yeah.
And all this.
So that's the inside picture of the basilica.
Wow.
Looks like you got a good crowd.
Yeah. So
Hope they all tithe.
Tithe. He says, I hope they all tithe.
oh. Well, they're not socially distanced. So there are 9 station prayers and meditations that are completed over the course of 3 days if you want to go do this pilgrimage. And each station takes about an hour. The first 4 are done on day 1 outside. And 4th through 7th are done that night during a night vigil inside the basilica. 8th station is completed on day 2, and the 9th is on day 3 before you leave. So it's a very, this pilgrimage is definitely regimented, unlike some of the ones that we've done so far, where it's pretty much free form, where you go walk a certain path, but you do it at your own rate. This one is a structured, I guess it's more of a spiritual retreat as much as it is a pilgrimage. Be interesting to see, though.
Well, I can tell you, having 4 hours outside in Ireland, the weather is not that great.
Yeah,
You better have a rain.
I'll bet. On the island, there are ruins of Beehive Monasteries. Now, these are not the actual pictures of those. I just want to show you what a Beehive Monastery looks like. Because in some of these older 5th century saints that we've talked about before, there was, in the Celtic lands, there were a type of monastery collection called Beehive Monasteries, and this is what they look like. They were just clusters of mounds that these priests and monks would live in a commune. it looks horrible to me. I can't imagine living inside a stone pile with no windows.
No, climate control.
Yeah. But when during St. Patrick's time, there was a monastery there like this that is now in ruins. Oh, here comes David. Well, he just admitted he's not showing up. There he is. Hey, David.
Good evening, David.
Sorry, I'm late, guys.
Glad you're here.
But I'm
We'll start over again.
Oh, okay.
All the way back to the beginning. We'll back up 3 weeks.
I do apologize.
That's okay. Glad you're here. David, we finished talking about Jerusalem, and now we're talking about a pilgrimage, St. Patrick's Purgatory, which is an island in Ireland, where
Oh, really?
yeah, St. Patrick had spent some time there, and it's since grown into a pilgrimage and actually a very large basilica on the island. Back up and show you the picture.
Wow.
Well, trying to back up. To show you the picture there, David, of what it looks like.
That is nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It is really an island, isn't it?
Yep. There are 2 islands in that lake. Another one is called Saints Island. There was a monastery there too, and St. Patrick, one of St. Patrick's disciples, St. Davog, was an abbot there. So both the islands have a history. The other island just has ruins, and of course the Station Island has the active basilica. And around the coast of the island are some interesting old sites to see too. There's St. Cronin's church, which is a 10th century church that is still active, has been active ever since then. So that's been there for a long time. It's actually the oldest continuous church in Ireland. And there was a monastery there.
David?
Yes.
Dave Kirchinger,
Yes.
Those mounds on that island, the Beehive mounds,
Yes.
just as an aside, I am reading, since the libraries haven't been open, I've just been going through our piles of hundreds of books here, some of the kids' books, and Swiss Family Robinson. You remember that story, the Swiss Family Robinson?
Yes.
Anyway, they talked about on an island that they were in these, it looked like what they were describing, those stone mounds, and how they made those into shelters for themselves. And I'm wondering, on that island, if they didn't build those mounds, did they excavate like a cave into them, or you don't have any more information on that, do you?
I believe they built them out of the locals, the materials they had available. Lots of stone in that area.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of one. I just looked it up, and it's got a window.
Right.
It's got,
I don't know.
so they just carved into a mound, a stone mound. How would they make those stone mounds?
I don't know.
They just build the stone up.
I mean, I couldn't see from where I'm sitting. It's built up.
Yeah.
Separate stones.
It's like a stone igloo.
All right.
It's like a stone igloo.
A stone igloo, right.
Yeah, that's a good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
Interesting.
But, stone's a lot harder to work with and put in the right shape than ice.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So also on the coast of this lake is St. Flannen's Cathedral. Romanesque cathedral was built there in 1180. That was destroyed during a war, and later the Gothic style was built there in the early 13th century. So this is just to show you some things around the island. Of course, the pilgrimage is to St. Patrick's Purgatory, the cave that he once spent time in, that now turned into a basilica with all the stations. But there's other interesting historical sites to see around the area. And that's the extent of St. Patrick's Purgatory pilgrimage. Like I said before.
One question about
Yes.
about purgatory. No, and I've been told that nowhere in the Bible is purgatory mentioned. That it was
That's
actually
correct.
a creation of the Roman Catholic Church to
Yes.
collect money when they needed some. You could pray yourself into heaven. You had to pray yourself into heaven.
Yeah.
Is there some truth to that?
It's definitely not biblical. It definitely came along in the Roman Catholic branch. As you know, I was Orthodox for a while. The Orthodox don't buy into a purgatory. So it's definitely a Roman.
They do not buy into it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Orthodox don't believe there is a purgatory.
I'm going to love you and leave you. Get ready for the service.
It's okay. It's about time to go. Next week we'll start up on Mount Athos.
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
Is
Take
the
care,
service today live, Peter? Are there going to be people there?
Live.
Okay.
All right. Take care. See you all.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. for
Thank
coming.
you.
Everybody, good week.